Come on, come on, come on. Everything is fine here on Detention Block AA23, a Star Wars podcast. I'm Mike, joined by Dustin, here to talk Star Wars with all you fans out there. Get the business elements out of the way. Hit that subscribe button, like, follow, download, rate, review, all of it. We greatly appreciate any little thing that you can do. It really helps us get our channel and podcast out there amongst all the other Star Wars ones. And I know this doesn't sound like much, but for us, I feel like it is. It's exciting to me. We've surpassed 100 subscribers on YouTube. We're actually at 101, so we hit the 101 Dalmatian number.
Yeah.
So we're halfway to, or over halfway to, our first goal of 200, which we will be doing a prize giveaway once we hit 200 subscribers. So if you're listening to us, hit that subscribe button and be entered in a chance to win a cool little prize. So, and we will have more prizes as time goes on, just little incentives, and the prizes will get bigger and better. So hit that subscribe
Yeah,
button.
especially if we start making any money at all. It'll go right back to the podcast and to viewers and
And
stuff.
prizes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, again, we've talked about this before. We're not in it for the money. We're in it for the fun, the conversation, the community, talking to other Star Wars fans out there. Like, that's what we're doing it for. If we get to that point of being monetized, great. We're just going to put it right back into the podcast and do some fun stuff with it. So,
And
uh,
we get to talk to each other.
yes, because now you don't. Well, I mean, it was still like 45 minutes away, but you no longer live in Minnesota, so this is our opportunity to
It
connect
honestly
on
it
a
honestly
weekly basis.
felt longer living
Yeah,
closer to you than
yeah,
it probably
right.
does now.
As weird as that sounds. See, we should have started this podcast when we were living together, because that would have been so much easier and so much.
Yeah. Yeah. We should have.
But I mean, can't change anything past, except if you're in what we're about to talk about here pretty soon. So we weren't really sure what to talk about, and then I get this text message from Dustin earlier today, and he's like, "Dude, have you seen this like Lego Jedi show?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he was referring to Star Wars Rebuild. Is it Rebuilding or Rebuild the Galaxy? And I'm like, "No, I haven't seen that one. I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it." He's like, "Dude, you got to check it out. It's actually really cool." So he watched the first two episodes with his son too, right? That's how you get.
Well, with a 3.5-year-old who doesn't get
Yeah.
any of the
But
references,
he
he was
technically he was the one that set the precedent, because he was the one that chose it, wasn't he?
yeah, so kind of right. So like, it's Thursday night, there's a hockey game on. When our daughter goes to bed, we'll give him some screen time, right? So kind of gives me some time to watch something. So anyway, set up the it's not an iPad, it's like a knockoff, right? Cheaper version, but set it up, and it's got Disney Plus on it, kind of scrolling through, and we see, or I see, you know, because he's watching right now the Jedi, the Young Jedi Tales or whatever it is,
Young Jedi
which
Academy.
is really cute. It's really good for the kids, and it's kind of like his first foray into Star Wars, right? Like lightsabers and Jedi, and there's not really Sith in it. I don't think there's like the bad guy is kind of a scavenger or something. But anyway, we saw like the lightsabers on the Lego thing, so I was like, oh, yeah, let's check it out because I know the Lego stuff can be kind of fun and entertaining for kids. And I'm like watching the hockey game, but kind of like I'm hearing these references that I get. And so I'm like starting to look at his iPad, and then like halfway through, I'm like watching the iPad and not the hockey game. And I'm like, this is really good. Like I'm like the references are spot on. Like it's like it knows what it is. And all that Lego stuff has been really, really good. Like the Lego movie, Lego Batman, all that stuff. And like, oh my God, this was, and the way they did it, and I mean, it just makes sense for Legos, right? You have the builders and the breakers, right? That's really
Yep.
clever. I really
Yep.
like that. But then what they did with the plot is brilliant because they can do so much cool stuff with it, which is what they're doing. And I mean, my favorite part is he's like, "Holy shit, Darth Jar Jar!"
Yeah, I feel like this was like Disney or Lucasfilm's way of actually introducing Darth Jar Jar because everyone talks about going back to the prequels, the question about is Jar Jar actually like the Dark Lord? Is he the Sith in the show? Because certain things that he does just seemed, I don't know, coincidental isn't the right way to put it. It was more intentional to some people's eyes. And people were referring to like Yoda being like, Yoda was a kooky guy when we first met him, and he turned out to be this great Jedi. So is Jar Jar like kind of following the same lane, just on the dark side, where he's like this quirky, goofy guy, and he ends up being like the Sith Lord? And so fans love that like conspiracy and really went with it, but obviously it's not how it ended up. So this is a way that Star Wars could introduce like Darth Jar Jar and kind of give that fan service there a little bit. So,
I mean, dude, there were so many things where I was like actually laughing really hard at during the two episodes we
okay, what?
watched.
So you said Darth, was that your most, or was that your favorite part, or like the part you laughed at the
No,
most?
I didn't even
Okay,
laugh at that part. I was just like, that's really good.
so what was the? Because I know what part was the best for me, like funniest. What was the funniest part for you?
I mean, dude, there's so many. Like first, like when they
There
take
are a
off, like
lot.
the when the clone troopers take off their helmets and it's all the Akbar.
Akbar.
Dude, that was great.
It's just all
I
clones
had
of
not,
Admiral Akbar.
yeah. And then and then so he calls him Jedi Bob,
Yeah, yeah.
and he's hating that. And then like as they're leaving, I mean, first of all, the Mos Eisley thing where they make it a water planet instead of a desert planet, like brilliant. But then he's like, oh JB, and he's like, we're not on nickname basis. It was killing me, dude. That was so good.
My
It's so nice, dude, to have this kind of like feeling about
yeah.
watching something Star Wars related that you're like, this is awesome. You could tell that the creators like really understand Star Wars because there's all these references that you wouldn't get, which is why like Bennett was out after the first episode. He's like, I want to watch my Spider-Man show now. I'm like, no, we're watching this.
It's kind of like a Saturday Night Live skit type of thing where like you feel like the writers and the creators were just like, let's just have fun with this and see what we come up with. So but the part that stands out to me is when they're in that Mos Eisley Marina and you see the like monkey butt face guy and
Yeah.
and
Oh, I like
he's
you.
like,
I like
but
you.
my friend likes you. I really like you too.
Yeah.
And then Sig, what's his name? He's like, thank you. Wow, everyone's so nice here.
Yeah, this is great. I just like all the things that they're doing with like the reverse universe is just really, really clever. Like Luke being a pod racer and he's cheating. That was really good. And then they call him out on it. That's pretty funny.
We
And then,
saw how you
oh, dude,
won. What do you mean how I won? I won fair and square.
another one of my favorite. I think this is my favorite part where they're explaining to him like how things went down in their universe. But the way they explain it is like, why would I ever want to be a part of that? He's like, oh yeah, so my father turns into like the worst human being in the galaxy, but then I like flip him for 5 minutes and then he dies, and then you know, and then I use the force so much that it kills me, like the way they explain it, like, and then I like go and live on this like planet with some porgs for whatever reason. I don't even know why that's a detail.
So they're
It's
kind of
so
like making
good.
fun of Star Wars too, in a way, like
They're making
it's
fun of it. It's
especially the sequel trilogy in that portion of it for sure. And I
if
love that
you're
he had like the um porcelain bit or whatever that Anakin gave Padme.
yeah,
So he's wearing like a little like sleeveless, like cut up, definitely like a
yeah.
Hawaiian bum type of a person. Then he's got like the necklace and it's got that like pod racing bit or whatever that was that Anakin gave um Padme, but it's Luke, so it obviously got handed down to Luke one way or another. But
So they had it twice, one in each episode, but this is kind of cute. So Ben was kind of like, watching it with. So at first it was on the iPad, and then when the hockey game went in intermission,
you're
I'm
like
like, I'm putting
putting
this
on
on the
TV.
big TV. Yeah, and so we're watching. So twice they played the Mos Eisley Cantina song, and
Yeah.
then I'm going, "Dee, dee, 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 dee," and he goes, "Dee, dee." It was pretty cute, dude.
Didn't they make
Yeah.
some kind of reference to like them only having really one song in that too?
Dude, they
Because
made so many references. Like I can't even like I'm gonna have to go back and watch it. Because even like the first episode, I was half paying attention. So I forget like how they find the Jedi temple and all that. I do love the one line. I think the line that really, really caught me when I was kind of sitting there, where they're like, "You're a scruffy looking nerf herder," and he's like, "I am a scruffy nerf herder," and like, "Oh, there's nerfs there or whatever," you know. So like
we're literally nerf herders.
that was excellent, dude. Excellent, excellent. So.
Yeah, and just to preface, so we ended up both just watching the first two
Mhm.
episodes, and I think there's four of them. So we'll watch those two, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about that next time.
Yeah, it'll
But
give us some content to talk
yeah,
about
to talk
because there's
about
not much out there.
no, give me something to talk about. Um,
Ugh. Who sings that?
Not me. Is
Yeah,
that what you're
keep it
going
that
for?
way. Let's keep it that way.
Yeah. I know where you're going. I know your humor.
It
Uh
just feels so good to talk about something that's like really enjoyable.
yeah. There was only one part that annoyed me though. There was one
And
part
what was that?
when Ray was introduced, and then Sig was like, "Oh, in my galaxy, she's like the most important, most legendary person who saved the." I'm like, "No, that was not her that saved."
Well, he
Like,
says that about everyone because apparently Luke is.
well, yeah, he said the Luke was the most powerful Jedi, so which is a little more on par with what I believe, but I don't know. In my eyes, like Anakin, Darth Vader, he's still the chosen one, and he's still like overthrew the Emperor. So,
Another great thing about like the bounty hunter Ewoks.
oh yeah,
That those are great. Um, it's just so well done, man. If you're watching this or you will watch this and you've like any of the Lego stuff, you're gonna fucking love this.
yeah.
It's just very well done.
I'm just waiting because we haven't gotten to these parts yet to where we get to the point of meeting like Darth Vader and the Emperor. I want to see what that dynamic is like. I know Darth Vader, he like wears an all white suit, and I think he's like a good guy. But we haven't been introduced to him yet. So
It,
eh,
it was kind of cool. Bennett didn't get the reference at all, but like one with the I think it's like a mini Wookiee or I don't know what species it is, but it's like in this little animated show, the
oh,
Jedi
Nub,
Adventure.
is that
Yeah,
who that
Nub.
was? Yeah,
Yeah.
because they introduced when they all the Sith,
There's like 10.
they're
Well, and
like
that's another dude.
apparently
That's
there's
what
not only two Sith in this
Yeah,
galaxy.
there's no rule of two in this timeline, right? That was really clever. I love that.
That
Like 10 Sith come out, you know?
what is he? Because what were all the ones? Darth Rose, Darth something, Darth
I
Nub,
do.
and then the Hammerhead comes out. He's like Darth Ham.
I
Oh,
don't even know what to
sorry,
call
I
you.
don't know you. And then he's just like,
And yeah,
and then yeah, what was the last one to come out? Oh, Darth Jar
that was
Jar.
Jar Jar.
That
Yeah.
was of course. So no, just super creative, and they're all coming out of like a black Millennium Falcon,
Yeah.
which is also another great idea.
Man. So 10 out of 10 for me, for sure.
Yeah,
Great,
yeah.
great. Like I'm actually like really excited to watch the other two episodes.
Well, and there's like there are a few Star Wars Lego shows, and I've seen Terrifying Tales. I've seen there was another one. There's a holiday one, and I've seen that one as well. And I think there's like six of them out there. There's like a vacation one where uh the Emperor and Darth Vader are like on a beach and everything. And they're all just like the ones I've seen at least are similar humor, similar creativity and everything. So you'll have to
Well,
check out all of
so,
those.
so that's my thing though, is like the creativity is what I really honed in on what they're able to do by not taking things seriously at all, but like really like taking true care of the source material.
Yeah.
Like this is how like not in a way that they're doing it in the like the Lego humor is very, I think, contained within that Lego universe that they've created, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you couldn't take the same humor and like bring it to another Star Wars project, but that creativity that they're using, right? This like to flip the universe and now all these things are different. Like I just cannot I can't say enough that the next Star Wars projects need to be more creative.
Well, and it's, off that point, and you mentioned it earlier too, like these people obviously have a knowledge of Star Wars. They get Star Wars. And then on top of that, they also have the freedom to create their own story because it's not canon, it's Lego, it's lighthearted and everything. So it's more open-ended. So when you mix like having the knowledge and the background of Star Wars with having that freedom of creativity, you have the ability to create something very entertaining. And I feel like in the more recent Star Wars stuff that we've been seeing, you have one but not necessarily the other. You have the freedom to do what you want, the acolyte, but you don't bring in the background, the lore and the knowledge of it. Or the other way around, you have the background and knowledge of it, Obi-Wan Kenobi, but you don't have the freedom to kind of do what you want. So that's what we've been missing, is having both of those elements in the content that they've been creating. So I'm really hoping that they go more to both having that freedom and creativity.
I just find it hilarious that the Lego project is what they give them like carte blanche on what they can do. And I should say, you know, a lot of the blame gets put at the feet of the directors sometimes, but the reality is, a lot of the crap that's come out is because Disney has put their grubby fingers into things and I mean straight ruined it,
It's become
you know.
corporate because
Yeah,
I mean George Lucas was an independent director. He wasn't tied to anyone. He doing whatever he wanted to do. Now you have Disney who has, they have their corporate ideals, they have their corporate, I hate to use the word but I will, agendas, that they have things that they have to stand by in the content that they create, and that can get in the way of either freedom or creativity. I mean, look at Disney has many very creative, very awesome shows and movies, like content out there that's fabulous. But like I don't know, it's with the Star Wars stuff, well, not just Star Wars, but many of the franchises that they've taken over recently, it's not the same anymore.
yeah, but I think this could be a blueprint that if you let the creators create,
Yeah.
you can you can make some really fun and exciting things. I mean, I was very excited just to talk about this. And how long has it been since we've had that? You know,
Well, we did enjoy Skeleton Crew. So you're enjoying
we
this
did,
more than Skeleton Crew?
dude, a trillion times more.
It's
And
because the
again,
humor
it's nothing.
aspect, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but it's nothing against Skeleton Crew. I mean, they had some humor in there, but it was different. Didn't quite capture the Goonies feeling. And I went and
Yeah.
watched the Goonies after Skeleton Crew, and I mean, Goonies just still hits you the same way.
Yeah. And
And
Skeleton
and
Crew
and
probably
some of that,
like 30 years from now probably won't hold up in the same way that Goonies held
yeah,
up
and
30
some of
years
that is
later.
obviously we're older.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I get to refeel the way I felt when I watched Goonies, for the first time. I really don't get that with Skeleton Crew. So
Yeah.
to be fair in that, you wouldn't expect to get that feeling. But there was just certain things in that show that I think definitely missed the mark.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's all I had. I don't think we need to, have too long an episode today because I think both of us have kids that have worn us down, or
Oh
kid
yeah.
might have RSV.
RSV is not fun. I'm sorry. And I hope she feels better. And that RSV can linger around for a while too.
Well, the biggest problem is there's not really any medicine you can give your kid to make them feel better. Like
Right.
there's no coughing medicine you can give kids. There's ibuprofen, so if they have a fever and they're achy and they don't feel good, that will help. But nothing really to suppress a cough.
Is pneumonia one of the things that is concerned that can develop from RSV?
Uh, I'm sure. I'm
Yeah.
sure it's one of the things. Anything that's dealing with like lungs and coughing, I think, can. can cause that. But she seems to be getting better. She's on the
Good.
rebound, so that's good.
Yeah, we were gonna jump on yesterday, um, but because of everything going on and sick kids, and it's like better, family always comes first. But it worked out because then it means we got to see this
It really
Lego
did.
show and
Hmm.
had more content to talk about, and we'll talk more about that next time as well. And before I close down, though, uh, have you heard about the rumor that George Lucas might have interest in coming back into Star Wars one way or another?
Yeah, I saw something about it, but not much to say until I guess it's
It actually
substantiated.
happens, yeah.
Yeah,
But I
but
think
it'd be
that's
cool.
good. I think that's progress.
Yeah,
Because
maybe
and
he's like, look what you did to my boy.
well, pretty much. I mean, he's expressed a lot of frustration recently for the direction stuff has gone. And I
I
think
have a
it,
hard time being sympathetic though. You sold it for billions,
yeah,
you know.
but if you go back and if you listen to the interviews and the conversations that he had with like Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy, they promised him that they would hold true to the characters and everything.
Yeah, they're holding their,
Yeah,
they have their
they
cross fingers
cross
behind
their
their
fingers
back.
behind their
Oh
back.
yeah, we're not gonna get corporate
So,
on
I mean,
you.
if you were promised that, you would still be upset because that's like, obviously, it's not in the contract by any means, but
But
it's
that's
like,
okay. If you're gonna make that promise to fans and to yourself, that needs to be in the legal contract, so you
exactly.
can go back and say, you need to figure your shit out, or we're gonna take this to a legal matter.
Yeah, because they told him they were going to follow his three-story, his like sequel trilogy, and they never did. And he was pissed off about that. So, yeah, put that in the contract next time. Lesson learned for George Lucas there, but we'll see what comes out of everything. And I know there's been talk about Kathleen Kennedy being out soon, and Leslie Headland has now like completely dropped out of like film and TV shows. She's now just doing Broadway stuff. So it's a lot of changes going on. Which sorry, one more thing about the Lego movie, which I noticed, which I wondered. So you remember there was that scene where the Y wing was flying and
Yeah.
then its wings flipped?
Yep.
Do you remember there was an interview with Leslie Headland and she had a Y wing Lego built?
But it was
It was
the wrong
backwards.
way. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wonder if that was like one, either like, okay, we're like making this not canon, but like, oh, okay, this it can be the other way, or if it was like kind of making like throwing a little jab at, oh, your Y wing was built backwards.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past him for all the reference they squeezed into, 20 minutes, 25
Yeah,
minutes.
it was just something that stood out to me, and I started laughing, and I'm like, Leslie Edlund. But anyways, with that, I'll wrap this up. So I'll just speak through our social media handles really quick. So you can find us on Twitter at DetBlockAA23pod, on Instagram at detention_block_AA_23, and then our Facebook group and YouTube channel, Detention Block AA23, at Star Wars Podcast. And you can find us on TikTok at DetBlock AA23. Again, hit that subscribe button, follows, likes, downloads, ratings, reviews, everything. We greatly appreciate it. And just kind of foreshadowing, we might have, it's been a while, but we might have another prisoner joining us in the near future. So I think Dustin has someone in the wings for us to talk.
Dude, he had as
Soon.
much shit on his walls as you did. So I was like, you gotta do a podcast with this man.
Yes. So we will have a guest come on here in the near future, maybe even next week. We just want to get some information and some talking points. So we'll talk through that. Any final thoughts, Dustin?
I'm so glad we stumbled upon this show. I mean, like the Blues lost,
You
and
mean
I don't
you're
feel it
so
at
glad that
all.
Bennett stumbled along the show?
Yeah, it kind of worked out, right? That we couldn't
Yeah,
podcast because
yesterday.
I mean, who knows what boring shit we would have talked about.
Not much. There's not much in the news of it. So again,
Oh,
yeah.
I will say so. Just closing, completely, completely unrelated, but I mean, it was windy as shit here,
Mm,
like
it's
50
terrible.
mile an hour gusts, right? So we have this big lake here called Winnebago. It's 120 something thousand square miles. Like it's massive. It's about as big as Mille Lacs in Minnesota, or maybe a little bit bigger. But it's like really long. and pretty narrow. When it gets windy like this, like, so now there's probably about 2 feet of ice. If you want to go ice
Yeah.
fishing, pretty safe. You can take your car out there. Well, what people will do is they'll take these like old like shanties, right? And they'll just leave them on the ice.
Oh
And
man.
these things were blown around like little TIE fighters.
Hmm.
If you were sitting in one and it was getting blown around, it probably looked like you're in Star Wars because like all like the snow that was
Yeah.
being blown around, you would have looked like you were in hyperspace. And I don't think anyone was in them at the time, but like I feel bad for some of these people. They put their shacks out there that they probably had for decades, and then it's just completely gone. And there's just so many funny videos you can find them like these just shacks just like moving along the ice.
Well, yeah.
So anyway,
No, I
that's
had I had a pair so I had testing at Target today, and I had sunglasses that I just had like connected to my jacket. The wind just freaking blew them off my jacket, landed on the ground, and then was blowing it across the parking lot like sunglasses. And I'm like,
I
Jesus.
wanted to see you chasing after them. That would have been
I
fun.
literally was. I was like, but yeah, it was super windy, but that's done with. But I guess we're supposed to get a lot of snow here.
Same
I don't know
here.
if you guys are. So you're gonna get a lot of snow on
That's what it
Saturday.
now. I'm actually looking forward to it because we bought a really expensive snowblower, and I was joking that like
Mm.
because we bought it, it wasn't going to snow at all this entire season. So I tell my like in-laws, I'm like, you're welcome,
Right.
So it sounds like it's gonna do pretty
And I
done
like
pretty
snow.
good.
I just don't like
I
cold
do.
weather. I like snow, so snow's okay. But all right. Well, with that, thanks for tuning in today. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great rest of your week. And we look forward to talking next week, potentially guests coming on, and hopefully talk the
His name
final
is
two ep
Luke.
Luke. And potentially talking the last two episodes of Rebuild the Galaxy. But go, Dustin, go watch the other Lego ones. Or we can use it for other, we can wait and then watch it and use it for other episodes for more content because they're all great, man. They're the
I
ones
might
I've
not know.
seen.
I don't know if I can wait, but I know it. I can rewatch the show. It's
True,
definitely
true.
got massive rewatchability because of all the references.
And humor.
Yeah. Hmm.
For sure. All right. Well, with that, again, have a great rest of your day. Have a great rest of your week. And we will see you guys all next week. And as always, may the
May the
force.
force be with you.
I'll let you take
I
that
was
one.
gonna do it with you, and then you stopped, you
All right, you
douche.
ready? 1, 2, 3. And may the
May the force
force
be
be with
with
you.
you.
Wow, that was super lame.
Jesus.
That was so lame.